Welcome everyone to Meet the Polymaker. I am your host, as I am every week, Nicor. Welcome to the show. We have a couple of things to be talking about today. A little bit of recap we'll do on Murph, which was an amazing event. Great time, great people. Of course, we're going to talk some news. We're going to show off some prints of the community. And then ultimately, we are going to meet a new maker. So definitely stay tuned for that. For those that are new to the show, we have right down there, you're going to see I am awesome in chat. Make sure to type that in the chat. So for those over in the TikTok land, do apologize right now that it is not live on there. We're working on that. So if you are wanting to enter the giveaway, just make sure to come see us over at YouTube or Twitch. It's at Polymaker on YouTube and Polymaker_3D on Twitch. So come find us there, at least get in there, get your name entered in there. Other than that, feel free to watch us on TikTok. We do hope to include you on those giveaways. But again, right now, type in I am awesome in the chat. That will enter you for a chance to win a free spool of Polymaker filament at the end of the show. So with that said, let's get right into the news. First up, of course, there's some big news from Polymaker themselves. This was just recently announced at Rapid TCT. Polymaker is expanding. Polymaker is always expanding. They're building that catalog. There is more and more filament day after day after day. I know some have been holding out. There's been waiting for this announcement. What's going to happen? We've got more stuff coming, guys. So this announcement is we are expanding. We have two new families under the Polymaker brand, and that is Fiberon and Panchroma. So what that's doing is kind of dividing up to have our engineering filaments, your high temp stuff, just the latest cutting edge composite filaments under the Fiberon brand. Of course, right now you're going to see mostly blacks. We've had the discussion about colors and all that. We'll see what the future brings, but there are a ton of the different nylon filaments. One of the new ones is the PPS CF10. There's a lot of PETG, CF there's many codes. If you're into engineering high temp filaments, this is your way to go for functional prints. The PPS, just a couple things on it is it's metal-like stiffness, 250 degrees plus heat deflection. So this is it's a new formula. It's a new filament, new to the brand. So again, releasing under the Fiberon brand. So we're going to see some more stuff coming out. I think the official official release of some of the new stuff is going to be July 25th is the goal. But with that, we also have the Panchroma brand or family. I don't want to say brand, family. And that is going to be our colors, the aesthetics, the things that people want to get colorful. We've had a huge color catalog already. This is going to expand on that. We've had our galaxies, we've had our starlights, which I absolutely love. I know a lot of other people do. We're having a lot more. There's going to be some neons, all in the PLA family. Some neons, some celestials, more to come to there. I think some more metallics. And there's one more. I think Nick on his interview with Sam forgot the fourth too, but there's four, but there's going to be more coming. They're looking pretty much right now I think it was 4 families, bringing 4 new color ranges to the market each year. So right now with 2024, it's expected to have 160 color options released in 2024 alone. That's colors and surface effects. So of course, like our Starlight's got the shimmer, the metallics have that glitter, Galaxies have that more prominent glitter. So there's a lot of stuff coming. There's always stuff in development. There's stuff I don't even know about. So I'm excited just as much as everybody else to see what else is coming. But stay tuned. July 25th is ideal when that site is going to update. You're going to see all this new stuff. Get ready to get the orders in there. So I don't know how much is coming. I haven't talked to Nick on details. I'm hoping a lot because I know I'm going to be ordering and I know a ton more people are. So just watch the site for that. We'll probably talk about the Panchroma and the Fiberon stuff more in the Hangout. If anybody comes to the Polymaker Hangout in our Discord, if you have any questions, I'll answer what I can. Maybe we'll see a guest appearance by Nick if he's not too busy. He's just finishing up Rapid today. So one also cool thing I think is going to be nice is it's going to release is a web-based tool to see the colors and renders. Right now we have all the pictures, and the pictures only show, especially the effects, only show it so well. This web-based app is going to be able to see a render. You're going to be able to spin it. The lighting is going to be able to change to show the effects, so you can see more of what it's going to look like as a printed object. So just stay tuned, guys. There's always more to come from Polymaker. This was a big announcement, and it's just showing the expansion that Polymaker is doing. They can't just contain it in one container. They got to put it in multiple. So more to come. So stay tuned. Next up, we're going to talk about I didn't see this one coming. I mean, I guess we did, but ELO themselves are entering the Core XY market. There's not a whole lot of data on this this machine. It is the ELO Centauri Carbon. Why they're going with carbon, just like some other people, I don't know. But either way, it does look really nice, really refined. I've had some ELO machines. They work well. So it's going to be interesting to see what they bring. I would imagine it's going to be 300 plus millimeters per second speed. We can expect what's going to be a match to the Bamboo and the other ones out there, the K1s, the K2 plus. Size wise, I don't know. I would imagine it's probably gonna be around the 250 range as a kind of entry level, because they are looking to do like a lower cost. Right now, no information at all on multicolor, possibly in the second iteration. We'll see. There's not enough other color options out there right now with some other brands, and then maybe some universal things that people are working on that will be working with other printers. We will see. But this is going to be their first or their flagship of this year. I think they're shooting right now for a September release. I don't know if that's set in stone. Again, we'll have to wait until September comes and we'll see what happens. But again, no price options set up yet, so we're not sure on that. One thing I did read up on it is it's got magnetically attached nozzles, so making quick swaps cleaner and effortless. So that's, I don't know if that means more kind of like the clamp down / magnetic ones like the A1s use for the Bamboo. But again, just a cool printer, yet another one to enter the market. Where's it going to go from here? Well, we will see. Next up, we're going to talk about insoles. Everybody has feet. Everybody wears shoes for the most part. Some crazy people don't, but insoles for some are a very important thing. Whether you got I don't remember, flat foot, there's medical terms. I'm not that smart, so but there's a lot of issues, or just overall comfort. A lot of us on our jobs are on our feet all day, so insoles make a difference. Of course, Dr. Scholl's has got theirs. They've got some cool gel things. This one is actually coming out from a gentleman named Ralph Herman. He lives in a small village in the Netherlands, and he runs a company, I think it's Podotherapy Herman's. He's been making insoles, has been using the traditional methods of milling machines. So basically taking the material, milling it down, having all these shavings all over. It's very messy. There's a lot of waste to it. So in 2019, he got his first 3D printer, which I got written down here, artillery. It was an artillery printer, and decided to start printing. I was realizing he could do additive manufacturing rather than, subtractive. So less waste. You can get a lot more customization. You can change it on the fly. He now runs multiple printers, and for being a larger company, he's got over 260 locations throughout the Netherlands, mostly, including inside hospitals and other facilities. But right now he uses artilleries, Prussias, Race 3D, Creality, and many other printers. So he's got a mix. I'm sure it's not fun managing all those printers of different brands, but he does it. These insoles, it's making it number one, like I said, easier to make, easier to customize, and making it cost effective for those that need them and can't afford the $500 or $200 insoles. So what's also cool is that he does use his own software on some of the design and creation of the insoles. So just a neat thing coming out of the Netherlands. Next up is going to be a bottle labeler, so a labeling machine, which is nothing crazy, but the crazy thing is that it is pretty much almost all 3D printed. So a gentleman by the name of Franz, I think, Fraens, had a need for labeling bottles. I couldn't find the details. I don't know if he has got his own brewery or what the need was, but he decided, hey, I need to label my bottles rather than trying to buy or source all the parts to make an official machine. He was able to 3D print all the parts, excluding the fasteners, smooth rods, panels, and aluminum extrusions. So everything in the picture you see that's orange is 3D printed, the gears, everything else. Pretty impressive. So, and this isn't his first foray into making a machine that's mostly 3D printed. He has also made other machines like rock tumblers. So this one has adjustable parts, label guides that you can adjust for different size labels, different size bottles, varying shapes, along with interchangeable glue patterns. So depending on where the glue needs to be laid, all 3D printed. And it's just another example of somebody having a need, not wanting to spend the money on the high-end stuff. So what's the next best option? Let's create one myself. that is much cheaper. So awesome design and awesome creation to Franz. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. And last but not least, we've talked about cars, race teams, everything else using 3D printing for prototyping. Now, of all the car manufacturers out there, Bugatti, most of us know them as the very high priced hypercars, but they are working with a company named Divergent Technologies on designing the Bugatti Tourbillon hypercar. So this is using what they call the Divergent Adaptive Production System for designing the chassis and suspension components, and helping used additive manufacturing, excuse me. But that is going to allow, of course, for more efficiency and modeling, the geometries for improved aerodynamics, weight reduction, and of course, overall aesthetics. It's a lot easier to just print out a piece, put it on there. Does the curve look right? Does the angle look right? Does the fold look right? So always cool to see them in things, especially hypercars. I mean, you want to think 3D printing, something we all do at home, is being done on this is a 3.8 million euro Bugatti. I didn't have time to convert that over, but a lot of money. There's going to be 250 examples of this design printed, and it's going to be powered by a V16 engine and electric powertrain, so pretty much a hybrid, and it's touting 1800 horsepower. So I don't know what all exactly parts are going to stay 3D printed. I think mainly the aesthetics and some of the small parts, but it'll be interesting to see really what the final product is and how much, what percent. I hope maybe we'll have a follow-up if I can get some more information once they get that design out and they actually have the examples being out there. So that is it for the news. Let's move on to the community prints. First up, we're going to have a print by Drydock 101. This is the Skull Droid designed by Pipecox, and it is available on Calls 3D. So I did the animated GIF there is just showing what that does. It's hard to have multiple pictures to show you. So that is not his print, but the print is in the silver, the larger picture. It is a beautiful print. The layer lines are very hard to see unless you really zoom in. So just a very clean print. And I always enjoy the print in place, the articulating stuff, and the designs where you can open something and it has a whole other design underneath where otherwise you'd never know it was there. So awesome print. Thank you for sharing, Drydock. Next up, a print by Alaric Van Velser. This is a Hello Kitty keychain. So that's designed by, I put Makerspace Teen because Alaric is part of a makerspace, and an actual teen that's part of that makerspace has designed this to print and I think give out. I had the story pulled up and I forgot to write notes on it. But awesome to see teens going to a makerspace, having that ability if they don't have it at home to be able to not just print something, but also design and then print. And we've all had that first feeling of something that you might have modeled, even if it's something as simple as a cube or something. I modeled this, I printed it, I can feel it. Awesome feeling. So I love seeing things that are, especially with the maker spaces, of what it's able to do for locals that don't necessarily have the option to have access to the 3D printing, milling, CNC stuff, laser etching. So very cool, and thank you very much for sharing, Alaric. Next up, we have a print by Moons 3D Welt. This is a lampshade by BQ Education. This is available on Thingiverse. And what I like about this, you're looking, okay, well, it's a lampshade. It is printed in PC, probably like PC. So a lot of the stuff we see is PLA, some pet cheese stuff here and there. So this is just showing, again, just the diversity of the filaments that are out there, not just Polymaker, but Polymaker makes a ton, that you can use in different use cases. This on a lampshade, you don't want to use a PLA print. A lot of times even the LED bulbs do generate a bit of heat. They could have caused some warpage. It wouldn't be recommended. You use a higher temp filament. So these could last quite some time for Moon's 3D Welt. Maybe in a year he'll have them installed, and we'll see kind of how they've been affected by the light bulb itself, UV light and everything else. So it'd be a cool thing. Hopefully he can share something later on. Next up, none other than Pete Shirtle 3D, who is our Lightbox ambassador on our Polymaker Discord. He had printed the mini Statue of Liberty. I kind of messed that one up, by none other than Wexter. This is, of course, printed in Polymaker filament, except for the torch, which we won't hold that against him because this print did come out great. I love seeing the Wexter stuff and just the different things that he decides to go with on designs of the characters. And this is a great one, especially right before 4th of July. So Thank you, Pete, for sharing that print. Last up, we have Randy B, who has designed and printed a Warhammer bolt rifle. This thing is huge. I think if I remember right, he used it at Pet G. I think it was 5 kilograms to print this, and a little story behind it, and I don't remember everything. He started out printing one, designed one and printed it. And I think either was showcasing at a game store or somebody asked him at a game store to display it. I think he ended up having to do like 9 more for the store. So really awesome. He's obviously a Warhammer fan. He was able to take, you know, the small designs, Warhammer's typically tiny, was able to just model this giant gun, and it is awesome to see somebody full size holding something that big that is 100% 3D printed. So I greatly appreciate that share, Randy B. For those that everybody that's watched and seen all the prints, these are all found in our show off prints channel and our Discord at discord.polymaker.com. You are free to share any of your prints there. You might be just, you know, might be showcased on next week's show or a following week's show. So definitely, if you have any cool prints, ones you love, even if it's simple, if you love it, you enjoy it, you think it looks great, share it. We always love taking inspiration from what people share. So again, discord.polymaker.com, definitely come join. But next up, we are going to meet our latest maker of the week. So stay tuned for these commercials, and we'll be right back after those.
Has this ever happened to you? Have you just been minding your own business and you drop your PLA print? There's gotta be a better way. Well, now there is. With our Polylite PLA Pro, you won't have to worry about dropping your PLA prints ever again. Just look how these tests held up to our drop test, the same one that we did with PLA. If you need even more impact resistance, make sure you check out our Polymax PLA. This hammer is no match for Polymax PLA.
This is Polymax PLA, the toughest PLA in the world, and today we're gonna put that to the test. I printed this very mechanical model and we're gonna drop it from the 12th floor. You heard me well, the 12th floor. Let's go! Ready for the first drop in 3, 2, 1. Whoa, that's crazy! Not even a scratch! Let's go and check it closer. Not even a single scratch. I dropped it again from the 12th floor and still not a single scratch. Buy your Polymax PLA right now!
Performance may vary depending on usage, individual factors, and external conditions. Individual result may vary, not a guarantee of specific outcome. Consult your professional before use. See website for details and limitations. Use responsibly.
Imagine owning some of the best songs about 3D printing this Discord has to offer. Polymaker presents 3D Printing Hits by Silverback and Little D, the best renditions of some of the greatest hits of all time. Hits like Hallelujah, Polly Smooth Criminal, All That She Wants Is Another Printer, Print Away,
There you go, print away.
Still the TD1, All About That Bag, No Stabbies, and Polyman.
It's a file tonight. We're all in the mood to see it extrude, 'cause you've got your printer tuned right.
Reserve your CD today with a special TV offer by going to polymaker.com and paying $39.99. Have your credit card ready. Seriously though, this music was a joke. Go buy some Polymaker.
And welcome back to the show, everyone. Hope you enjoyed those commercials. I need to remix them. I know it's kind of been the same flow every week, so I apologize. I'm going to get some edits in there, bring back some of the old stuff, kind of mix them around. But for those that have a creative mind, you don't have to have a high-end studio to record them. If you're interested in submitting any commercials, you are free to do so in our commercials channel in our Discord at discord.polymaker.com. Or basically, the rules are all in the channel, so definitely go there. You'll email me the video. I'll review it. If there's anything that needs to change or doesn't work, I'll let you know. But you win free filament. Excuse me, I can't talk today. But you win a $100 voucher from Polymaker if your commercial is used just for the first time. You don't get it every time it airs, but definitely get those in. If you guys have any cool ideas, they can be rehashes of kind of old infomercial stuff. We've got some other ideas. We just haven't had time to run with them. Beat us to it, make some money from it, or make some filament from it, and get those submissions entered. So again, commercial channel is in the list of channels of all the channels in the Polymaker Discord. Or if you ever have any questions, you can always hit us up in Discord in many of the channels, or find us in the sidebar and chat us up. So thank you all for sticking around. So we are going to go ahead and meet our next maker of the week, and that is going to be none other than Yvonne from Deposition Sound.
Hey,
hey, how's it going?
Okay? I'm doing great.
Yep, we can hear you loud and clear. I think chat, can you hear him good?
I hope so.
I can hear you, so it should mean that we're good.
Good stuff.
We've had some hiccups the last couple episodes, but everything seemed pretty smooth this time for setup.
Yeah.
So, well, there we go. Sounds great. Awesome. So go ahead and for those that don't know who you are or don't know what Deposition Sound is, can you give us a kind of quick update of who you are and what is Deposition Sound?
Sure. So first and foremost, thank you for the opportunity to allow us to talk and connect with the community a little bit more.
More than happy.
That's awesome. So thank you for reaching out. So we are Deposition Sound. The we in Deposition Sound is myself, Yvonne, and my brother Waldo, who can't be here today. He's feeling quite a bit under the weather, but he's getting better, so that's good.
There we go. Yeah.
Deposition Sound is it's built off of fused deposition modeling, right? So play on word. Now there's the idea of sound, speakers. Just plain and simple. We're into audio. We like good sound. My brother and I are both makers. I think I am more of a tinkerer than he is, but he just likes cool stuff that's aesthetically pleasing, and he's into design. He's a web designer as well. So we kind of combined the two a little bit. The design aspect of things, a lot of that's coming from me, and I get input from him as well. But Deposition Sound started as a result of my brother getting a couple printers 2 years ago. And I've been a little bit out of the game for a while. I started 3D printing in 2016, 2017. My first printer was a TiVo Tarantula that I tricked out. That was a heck of a printer.
Not a bad printer to start with.
No, yeah. I slapped an old J-head on there. I don't know if anyone knows what those are anymore. But no part cooling whatsoever. Just go.
Just extrude the plastic and hope for the best.
There you go. It worked quite well. I made a bunch of parts on that thing. But I've always been into 3D printing and tinkering and technology ever since a young age. Like I said, started in 2016, 2017. Got a couple enders along the way. Had some kids, moved, did a bunch of life stuff, fell off the wagon for a while. And then when my brother got his couple printers, he pinged me one day and said, "Hey, Yvonne, you've been building, speakers out of MDF cabinets and, playing with audio and crossover design, which I've been doing for like the last 6-ish years, 6-7 years ish." He said, you should try making a cabinet or designing a cabinet that I can 3D print, or at least, just the front baffle. So I told him, yeah, I've got these woofers and tweeters sitting in my closet that I've been meaning to put them on I've been meaning to build something out of them, or build something for them. and I didn't have access to any of my tools at the time. I was moving between homes. Everything was either in a storage unit or the garage, which was a cluttered mess. And I thought, okay, let's try it out. So I threw something together in Fusion 360, which we're not using today, by the way. We use primarily FreeCAD.
Okay.
I threw something together in Fusion 360. I sent him an STL, and a couple of weeks later, in the mail, I had these gorgeous front baffles, that were flat on the back. Nothing was curled or warped or anything like that, and I was shocked. And I thought, I really appreciated the ease of that, and kind of the robustness and stiffness of the parts that came out. So one thing led to another. I designed more speakers and crossovers, and I measured them against some baffles, and Ola said, let's do a design, a first pass. Let's get something out there for folks to start printing it themselves, or maybe we can sell this as like a fully built kit. Maybe the audiophile community would be into it. Yeah. And so that's how we came up with our first design. That was, little over a year and a half ago and some change. That was the FDM5. I'll show you that real quick.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So the FDM5 is a very simple, boxy looking speaker, straightforward unit, with the recess binding post in the back there.
Still aesthetically pleasing. It's not supposed to be super crazy looking or anything like that. And that was kind of our goal. We wanted the introduction of 3D printed cabinets and good crossover design speakers to be palatable by the masses, or for the masses. So that was one of the priorities, was to introduce people to the idea of making something that looks commercial, looks like something you could buy off the shelf from Best Buy or click buy on Amazon. It looks something like that. Rather than a gimmicky model with pieces and parts all floating off of it in high color, right. Something that you can actually print and put in home.
Right. So it was a simple design first out the gate. We went through maybe 3 or 4 iterations of cabinet construction. Initially, it was like 6 parts. And, I asked myself the question, this is 3D printing. We can merge all of these parts, and I can change the orientation of the port. Doesn't have to be front ported. That can print in place. Everything could print in place. And it's like something unlocked in me. This idea that, you're limited to maybe 45 or 60 degrees of overhang. Aside from that, everything is free game. So after that, all of our designs have been integral and print in place. We try to minimize the part count as well. And the FDM5s didn't gain a lot of popularity right out the gate. Some folks thought they were cool. We actually shipped a bunch of models to reviewers, some popular YouTube reviewers that some folks might know in the chat. Randy over at the Cheap Audio Man, he's got a pair. DMS, he has a pair. Zeos over at Z Reviews, he also has a pair. And in fact, he recently did a review of our FDM5s and had some good things to say. So that was
a good feeling. Yep.
It was a great feeling. At the time of designing the FDM5s, though, I had a long-standing, 4 or 5 year relationship with a speaker designer online, Kurt. I bounced stuff back and forth with him. I was a brand new, crossover tinkerer at the time, and I picked his brain a lot. I actually sent him a pair too, and he drove that pair to an Iowa DIY event, and the folks were impressed. And it was awesome. A lot of validation, a lot of good feedback. Not perfect by any means, and that's not the goal. The goal isn't
there's
perfection.
Always room to grow. Yeah,
always room to grow. But the goal is to have fun and to do something for yourself, by yourself, or with someone else that you love and enjoy being around. Make it your own, embellish it, choose your colors, choose your materials, do it at your pace, and try to keep it under $300. So That was
It's easier to grab for those that are interested rather than like, oh,
right,
well,
right,
I'd love to, but I'm not going to spend $800 on a pair of speakers.
right. And I've played my speakers for a local town, sorry, for a local brick and mortar store that still sells high-end audio equipment. I'm very lucky to have them just down the street. I played the FDM5s for them, and they were kind of shocked, kind of blown away. Like these plastic cabinets,
They're just 3D printed on a
they're-
home printer of all things.
there's no way. And they were, I'm by no means an audio expert. I don't even consider myself an audiophile. I like good sound, but I listened to a $1,600 pair of Sonus Faber bookshelf speakers before listening to the fives, and in my
Didn't see
opinion,
that big of a difference.
they were different for sure, but they were going toe to toe, which is kind of cool. And that's what DIY audio is all about. Getting the most bang for buck, producing something that is of much higher quality, made with better quality components for a lot lower cost at the end of the day.
Now
Finished,
go ahead.
no, go for it.
So with the gentleman that you sent the set off to, I think it said Kurt.
Kurt,
You said
yes.
he was a speaker designer modeler.
Yep.
Did he work with 3D printing stuff, or was he more woodworks type stuff and everything else?
Yeah, so he came from the same background that I did, working heavily in MDF and plywood. The classic materials, tried and true materials.
Same stuff that people do, like the speaker boxes for cars and everything else, right?
Yeah. And
Now, is that where you got your start at, was with like car audio? I know I was never into it. I had an older brother that was big into huge stereos, as many subs as you can to rattle the trunk as much as it can. But is that where you got your start, like early on, of just enjoying audio?
No. So my start with audio actually started with my dad. Growing up, he had a pretty decent high-end system. A bunch of a pair of Boston T1000 floor standing speakers, and some Rotel Class A amplifiers. He loved to blare, classical music and organ music and Phil Collins and Cranberries and, just
Good stuff. Some people in chat have no idea who those bands are.
No idea who they are. But I've listened to a lot of 80s music. So I didn't grow up in the US. I grew up in South Africa. Everything seemed to be about 5 to 10 years behind everyone. So my taste
that made its way to South Africa.
Right. So my taste in music is almost 5 to 8 years behind everyone else.
A little bit of a lag there.
Yes. But lots of Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin more recently, that, in the last 20 years. Really,
that's what I refer to as real music compared to some of the stuff we have out now. So I back your decisions for the love of music and
there you go.
A broad range.
But honestly, that's where it started. Just good quality home hi-fi. I love movies, and I love going to theaters and enjoying big loud sound, stuff that moves you, not just physically, but it can provoke an emotion in you as well. So I respond very physically to music. I get goosebumps all the time listening to certain tracks, and so enough to say that I love sound. I love good sound. I love good music as well. So, and I have a broad taste,
that's the same way I always say, and a lot of people that are in the hangouts, on the Polymaker hangouts stuff, and people that just around me in real life is, I always say life is a musical, because anybody that says just something, and if I can take that snippet of what they said, like, oh, that was in a song, and I just roll with it. And sometimes I get people join in, sometimes people roll their eyes, but I enjoy it, because I'm the same way. I respond well to music and a vast range. So now with that then is with the production or creation of the speakers, you said you're not much of an audiophile. You didn't have like a engineering background in audio per se. Did you do any research to know? I know there's differences in the ducting, the way the air and the pressure move around the boxes. Did you do much research there? Did you kind of just 3D print? You could just play with it, change it until you found something that sounded good?
Yeah. So by trade, I'm an engineer. So I'm going to dig into the numbers. I'm going to dig into the the transfer functions that, predict the output for these ported designs. There's a book, loudspeaker design cookbook out there that almost every DIYer references, when they first start out. And then there's a lot of software online too that's essentially taken some of the math out of that book and some of the theory from the 60s and the 70s and digitized it, turned it into standard curves and easy lookup tables, on a piece of software. So I'm always about numbers. I won't get into it, but I like math. I like physics. I like engineering, applied mathematics, all that good stuff.
So that mixed with love for tinkering, that's a whole lot of gears moving in your head.
Exactly. So I love doing research. I'm always very curious about, how things could sound, or maybe the way they should sound, or how would you build this, or how would you print that? But part of this is also, it's somewhat subjective, because you have to try things out and model it on a computer. I have a saying. Well, there's a saying in my line of work: all models are wrong, some are useful. So
Fair.
we have certain tools within the DIY audio realm, and it's what the pros use too. They use to cross over tweeters and woofers and mid-range drivers, and all of that is kind of a prediction as to how things are going to respond. So I measure stuff on the same baffle. Everything's measured concurrently on the same baffle, and you get that data and you use that to cross things over using inductors and capacitors in parallel and in series, and throw in a few resistors just to make things work. Then you have to try it out, listen to it, tweak it a little bit, understand, okay, if I do this in the crossover, this is what's going to happen to the sound. Let me try it out, and then I'll back off and try something else.
No, you're good. I've got, we talked earlier, I got plenty of them myself. So this is real life, so it's okay.
Yeah. I'll be right back.
No problem at all. I've been there, done that. We've had, I think, a Nora interruption at times. So, but we're going to be moving here shortly while he's working there. Anybody with any questions for him, we're going to be going to community questions here shortly. So make sure to get those in there. Hopefully they don't get buried and I'll be able to go. So YouTube, Twitch land, even TikTok land, if you guys have any questions for Yvonne, definitely ask them now. I'll try to keep track of them as best I can, and we'll hit them up with those. So,
okay, sorry about that.
No, you're perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I did have a question on now where I was going to go with this. So the FDM5 being kind of the first production one you made.
Yes.
Do you know what's that? How many do you even know? How many iterations, how many tests and redos and revamps and everything? How many did you go through design wise till you got it right? You got it right.
Well, it took me about, I'm going to be very honest with you, because I've had experience before doing crossover design. It took me about 2 or 3 iterations of crossover before I got it right on the FDM5.
Someone's a pro.
Yeah. But the cabinet design, that's what took the most time. So we had maybe 4 or 5 iterations of that before we landed on this configuration. At one point, the ports were coming to the front and we had additional attachments out the back. It was not a mess, just overly complicated. So we simplified a lot. And from that, we built more, we created more designs, right? So, hey. I'm here again. Okay. Hey, baby. No. What's up?
Can you get Addie's rainbow?
Ashley, can you get it?
Come here.
Okay.
Come on. Dad's telling me lock it.
I locked it, babe. She's breaking in. So
kids are slick.
My kids are way too smart. They know to use a hair clip.
Oh yeah, I bet the same. That's my basement door that's locked. It has a little hole in the middle of the doorknob. Yep,
that's how they get in.
Done that.
So we came up with more designs. I do want to talk about those. So shortly after the FDM5s, we had the FMGOs. The FMGO is arguably my favorite speaker. It's the one that I actually spent the most time on for crossover design. At that stage, we were actually worried about the supply that would be available of woofers for the FDM5. So I thought, okay, I need to design some sort of intermediate unit that is probably a little bit more available. And, you know, I'm going to lean into kind of my feel, the thing that the sound that I like the most, and that's more not sterile, but maybe a little bit more forward sounding, something that has more mid-range impact and accuracy. So that's, and I love bass, don't get me wrong, but I want to shoot for accuracy.
But
so
yeah, there's very much a thing of too much bass, and
yes,
I've seen many setups and speakers, even computer speakers, the same way. Like that's you start to drown everything out that has the quality. So like you said, that quality mid-range. So
right.
Yeah,
so
find that perfect balance.
Yeah. The FDM5s were intended to be, or are intended to be, a more relaxed, chill speaker. They're a little dipped around the 3500K zone. So 3500 hertz, it's slightly dipped. You'll see that in the frequency response that we're going to put online soon. If you do that just right, things sound smooth. Things sound enjoyable, not super harsh. There's no real listening fatigue that occurs. But with the FMGOs, I had to balance, you know, listening fatigue and enjoyable listening. So there's a sweet spot that you shoot for with the crossover design to get a flat frequency response, but not so tinny and sterile in the mid range that it kind of hurts you after a while.
Yeah, it has that kind of that ting.
Exactly. So we came up with the FMGOs. Again, another integral cabinet design, and I'll show you my personal pair, the one that I listen to. So yeah, that's the FMGO.
Good colors there. What colors are those?
So this is a carbon fiber PETG from Bamboo Labs.
Okay.
And the gold, shoot, I don't remember where. I think the gold is an Overture gold.
Okay, like a silk gold.
Yeah, so like a silk gold. But the FMGOs are rear ported, tuned to the roughly the same frequency as the FDM5s. The cabinet is, along with the port. It's about 45 hertz ish. But again, the FMGOs that's my baby. You know, that's the one I didn't let my brother influence the design at all or anything like that. The first pass, he had a great deal of influence on the looks and the feel. FMGOs were that was for me. So that was my gift to the world. And it came out great. So
they look beautiful for sure.
Oh, thank you. I do appreciate that. One thing I do want to mention is that we use good quality crossover components in all of our designs. That's part of why our kit isn't super. It's part of why our kit is not super cheap. We get our crossovers custom made up in Illinois. Wow, okay. Yeah. So the FMGOs right there. That's nice. Its crossover. I don't know if you can see that.
Quality piece. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So air core inductors, polycaps, decent resistors. We try not to skimp on those parts because we know it's in the sounds, it's in the signal path. It matters, you know, what comes out. There's some other compromises that you can make, but we didn't want to compromise on the crossover.
And I think too, when you're wanting to print your own and create that, at least for somebody, like, rather than for those that don't want to spend a whole lot of money, there's plenty of course commercial options, cheap speakers you can go buy, and you're going to get just that, cheap speakers. But I think anybody wanting to put that effort into printing, be able to color it them, design it themselves, or design or not design, but color whatever they want to color, put that time involved. I think, yeah, I don't think there's too much concern of cost up to an extent. Like you said, you have to find that balance, but price wise, of when I was on your site, I think I'm not a huge audiophile, but they still didn't seem excessive to me. So, you know, an audiophile might be like, well, you should get this and this component. I'd spend $600, but not everybody's that way.
Yeah. And that's not our style. So we think you can get great sound. Good sound has never been more accessible than today.
And I did hear the FDM4s, as we spoke earlier, was
So
Zombie Hedgehog, who's in chat currently,
there you
at
go.
his setup at Murph, and that's the first time I didn't get a chance to really listen to him at Rocky Mountain when I kind of passed by your booth quickly, but I heard Zombie set, and they sound really good. He even cranked them up and everything. There was no distortion, just
Cool.
a very, very good sound. They looked good, and then he didn't even go crazy with colors or anything. Like I said, for those that don't want to match a normal home theater aesthetic and they want to go crazy, some
Yeah.
desktops have some crazy stuff. I think they would look great. I definitely, like I said, I'm going to be printing my own pair and putting it on
Good.
my desktop. So
Awesome.
he got me hooked, especially with the little amplifier with the Bluetooth and everything else, just to be easy. I'm often in my workshop on the other end of the basement, or I'm here. And like I said, I love music. So to just be able to pop on the phone, crank those up, like I said, that's going to be very, very nice. Now, when printing them, I think what you guys normally recommend is like PETG ABS. Obviously, depending on inside or outside, do you notice a sound difference when you use a PLA compared to a PETG compared to ABS?
So here's the thing. The other day, I actually compared my carbon fiber PETG speaker to a just standard PETG speaker.
Okay.
Carbon fiber PETG is way stiffer. I actually added more walls and increased the info on my cabinet and measured it, to see, hey, is there a measurable difference between these two speakers? And there isn't. So
Awesome.
I don't imagine there even being a big difference between PLA and PTG. The thing that might change and the thing that you might notice as being different is probably the timbre or the way the cabinet might present itself. It might, our cabinets aren't totally inert. They will flex a little bit, not a lot. They've got integral stiffening that's there to
For the
prevent
structure and everything
a
else.
lot of ringing, right? Or a lot of resonating rather with the woofer. But I would be very surprised if anyone can really notice a difference acoustically, or better yet, just sonically. Like if they can hear any distortion or when I say distortion, I mean maybe an inflection in this frequency range more than another. I don't think you'll see a lot of difference between PLA and PTG. I think the thing that really matters most is the overall density of the cabinet, how much stiffness,
walls and everything else.
right? The number of walls that we recommend on the cabinets is at least 2 walls. You can go crazy and go 100% info.
Get a nice heavy speaker.
Yeah, and it would be a very robust and heavy speaker, and it shouldn't resonate at all. But I don't think you're going to hear a huge difference. There will definitely be a difference, and probably measurable more so if you reduce your material amount. I hope. Did I lose you? I think
No,
I
I'm still here. Yeah, I'm still here. Just my camera decided to go a little bit crazy here. So yeah, you can carry on.
Excellent. So yeah, you mentioned the FDM4s. The FDM4s are where we kind of went off script. I'll show you the crossover for it, and it's shaped this way for a reason. I don't know if that. Yeah, so it's shaped this way for a reason because it fits very snugly into the cabinet and sits on the back wall. I don't know if you can see it. The lighting is terrible.
Oh, watch out. Oh, there we go. Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So on the inside there, we've got the serpentine of a port, roughly 35 inches long, that you can only make using additive manufacturing. You can't injection mold that. If you do, it's going to be in several halves with like an internal mandrel, and it gets very expensive very quickly. And you're going to lose some dimensional accuracy too with that coming out of the mold. But yeah, the FDM4s, we went off script. We tried to shoot for a similar sound signature as the FDM5s, a more chill, laid back, thumpy, not super punchy in the mid-range, but a good sounding, listenable
overall quality.
Yeah. The things that we really went off script with was number one, obviously that port design is just nuts, and you get a bunch of low end extension with it. But number two is the tweeter. So we recessed the tweeter in the front baffle and provided just a circular waveguide outside of that recess to the front baffle, and then continued that curvature all the way around. I won't get into the specifics of it, but that overall shape, that smooth transition from the acoustic chamber inside of the tweeter all the way out and around the baffle allows for really good directivity and off-axis response. So listening to the speaker dead on and then 45 or 80 degrees off-axis sounds almost the same. In fact, the FDM4s, when measured, sound a little bit better off-axis and transition to a sweet spot just
rather
between
than directed.
Exactly. So when placing the FDM4s, you don't have to toe them in or anything. They don't have to be shooting directly at your face, not necessarily. They're actually flatter off axis than they are on axis, which is by design. I kind of twisted things as I was measuring and designing the crossover there. But really unique PCB. Bolts to the back wall that eliminates one cable connection. You now only have two connections to one to the woofer, one to the tweeter, so it's integral to the back wall with the binding posts. It's a little tricky to assemble. I have big hands, but I can still do it. And
I'm the same way. I got just fingers.
Austin, aka Zombie Hedgehog, he designed a little tool, little aid that you can use to stick that nut in there and twist it down onto the binding posts. So that's going to be coming out soon. I'm sure that STL is going to end up somewhere online, either on printables or things. But no, the FDM4s are a lot of fun. Small little speaker. It's nothing crazy. An inch and a half smaller than anything else we've made in diameter, but man, they pack a punch, and they are.
I heard them in an giant open building, so it wasn't like it's utilizing bounce back and everything else. It was in the center of a large building, and I said he cranked them up, and that's the big thing too. Like I said, is again, not huge audiophile, but when you can crank up a speaker and it doesn't distort, and you get because a lot of times you can get on any range that distortion. They sounded crisp, clean, and he just had, I think he was using $100 receiver on Amazon that was USB. I think had an aux jack and Bluetooth, and he just had his phone Bluetooth to it, and it was easy setup and sounded just great.
And thank you for that, and I'm glad he got his setup built and assembled before Murph. I was nervous. He was the first one to ever do that, and he did it live.
Got it done.
Of course, he built the first pair before the first unit of the pair before the stream, and he and I were texting back and forth, and he's asking a couple questions, and I'm panicking, thinking, "Oh shoot, he missed this step, or I didn't give it."
Something's messed up.
And he did a great job. Everything went together so smoothly. There's a couple things that we would do differently about the assembly, and that's okay. You're still going to get it together. The front baffle and the cabinet, they're just two pieces for all three of our designs. Fit together without any sort of tooling or alignment. You just stick it on and it's good to go. Some folks like to use 3D gloop. We like to use super glue with an accelerant just because it's so instantaneous and fast.
Quick, and you can set it, and you know it's going to be exactly where you're holding it.
Right. You can use a 2-part epoxy, construction adhesive if you want. That's the thing about the front baffle connection to the cabinet. You're not looking for strength. You're just looking for stiffness. You just need enough of a connection there that things aren't going to fall apart. It's not designed to take, a tank or anything like that.
It's not a ton of pressure that's just trying to explode the thing.
Exactly. So with that said, there's a lot of adhesives that you can use for this kind of application. So the FDM4s came out great. They sound wonderful off axis. They really fill the room. I walk around in a room with a pair of them playing, and I don't notice the sound changing as I move, which is kind of cool. And if you set them up so all three of our speakers are really designed for smaller listening spaces, like a small living room or an office setting, maybe a small basement or a corner in a basement. They, of course, will drown a little bit in large living rooms or concert halls or anything like that. But
Yeah.
you
That's
know,
the next upgrade, you know, when you're printing the giant speaker cabinets that
yeah. So we've actually had some folks reach out to us who have already 3D printed their own floor standing speakers, and they're massive. And I'm shocked as to how gorgeous
what they've been
they
able to do with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not going to call them out by name right now because you know they're still doing some things and figuring some things out. But their imagination is just it's awesome to see what you can do with audio 3D printing, and I see it taking off because yeah, you can do you know things sound great with MDF and inert cabinets this and inert cabinets that, but you don't always need a super dense dead cabinet to get great sound. If you have the right woofers and tweeters and decent crossover design, that, in my opinion, is like 85-90% of the job right there.
Yeah.
And that's
One
what
of the things too, if you got those internals to where everything's working well and the setup's good, you got the kit
Exactly.
that's right there, easy to do.
Yeah.
A lot of people nowadays, you know, we love customization, whether it be colors or design. And that's the thing is some people like that normal kind of, you know, we'll say modern aesthetic. Some like the outrageous stuff. So like you said, I think you're right at the beginning of it of just, you know, going different way. There's so many different paths to go with it.
Sure.
And especially having the knowledge you've obviously had, the experience you've had just doing what you've done so far. You have total three sets currently, right? The FDM, FDM4, and DMGO.
Correct.
Okay.
And I notice here off to the chat, there's some questions about what's next. I will, yeah, I'll just jump right out and say that we have a couple secret projects going on right now. One of which is not really it's not going to be an affiliation, but we might do some work with them here in town. I can't mention the company name yet.
Might be some collaboration then.
They don't want to
Partnership
collaborate on speakers. Yes, they want to collaborate on the idea of 3D printing, which is a start. That's good.
Yep.
I've got some models.
Oh. Am I live? Are we live? Where? Let's see. Who? Did we lose me or did we lose him? Can you guys still hear me, chat? Am I still live? You are live. He is not. Okay. I thought so. I have different feeds up to see what's still live. So we'll hang tight. Let me make sure it doesn't pop back in here and let's get him back in here. There we go.
Can you hear me?
You're back now. Yep.
Okay. So
welcome back.
Yeah. Not to sound pretentious or anything like that, but we have some stuff in the works right now that's pretty cool. But one thing that I will speak to is that we are definitely working on some powered subwoofer designs. So
awesome.
We have a commercial account through Parts Express. They have excellent little subwoofer plate amps and drivers. I'd like to bring to market or bring to the people kind of an entry-level subwoofer and then a more advanced, of course, more expensive subwoofer as well. Both of which I'd like to be able to print on, let's say, a bamboo or, sorry, a P1S carbon, whatever, anything with like that 300 by 300 build volume, or a little bit bigger. We'll see. But I think the sweet spot right now is 300 cube. So that's what we're shooting for. And it's going to be in multiple pieces, of course. And there will probably be a long port in there somewhere. But yes, powered subwoofer will be the goal. With that, we hope to actually drive the cost down a little bit too, because there's less that we do in that case. So we're not really, paying or designing any crossovers for them. We're going to give you the components, and they all come pre-delivered and boxed up. The magic is really just are you able to print the cabinet, do the threaded inserts, glue the halves together, pop in your plate amplifier and woofer and make some connections and go. That's the hope, right? So I think we can bring the cost down there as well.
Awesome.
So,
which was, speaking of the crossover, Nadir over on YouTube asked, who designed the crossover, you or your brother?
Me. So I'm the primary designer for all three speakers. I did all the audio testing, measurements, everything like that. And Valdu, he had influence early on the look and feel of the FDM5s, and a little bit on the sound signature too. But once we hit our sweet spot, I kind of took over from there, and he's been focusing a lot on the social media aspect of things.
Getting the word out.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And looks like we got another community question from Aussie Doggy. May I ask if you have tried the Edifer M4s? What do those sound like compared to your speaker sets?
So I've personally never tried them. I think they are a 5 1/4 or 4-inch driver, 4-inch woofer speaker. I've never heard them before, but I would say they're comparable to maybe our Geos, possibly our 4s. Yeah, I've listened to a lot of Yamaha. There's a Sony CS5 out there. I think that's how you say it. I'm not big on part numbers or anything like that. Yamo is good too. I have a pair of Yamo S803s with some SMSL amplifiers, and those all sound great in my opinion. But I think our 3D printed designs outperform. So yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Apologies. I'm having some camera issues. I'm not sure what's going on. But yeah, I think that's all I've seen. I might have missed some. If I missed a community question, I do apologize. But we're going to end with some rapid fire questions.
Yes.
These are always just the most in-depth personal questions. I dig deep in your past to find them.
Okay.
Now, first off, what was your favorite song to jam to in your teens?
In my teens?
This might date you.
Oh, gosh. Oh man, because my taste in music is so wide, and I know this is not a rapid fire answer.
No, you're good.
I'd say, oh man, so in my late teens, I really got into Muse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not a bad choice. Like I said, pretty much right there with you. Now, if you could be a member in any band ever, old school, new school, here on Earth anymore or not, what band would you want to be part of?
Oh man. Oh shoot. It's between this is going to sound weird. I love Pearl Jam, but I'm also I play bass guitar.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
And I like big band jazz music too. I maybe the band that Jaco Pastorius ran back in the day, around the 70s. I forget the name of the band, but yeah, any big band that he led, I think I would have enjoyed that. So that's my answer, Jaco Pastorius. Anything to do with
anything
him.
with him, any collab, basically. Okay, fair enough. So now, away from the audio stuff and song stuff, what is your favorite filament color and type?
Oh boy, gosh,
there's only like hundreds and hundreds of them.
Right. Lately, that's probably what I printed my FDMGOs in. I'll be honest with you. This carbon fiber PET G in blue. It's just stunning. I actually I changed the order of the walls. So that the outer walls would print first, and the texture is a little bit different than if you start the inner walls first.
That are in reverse.
Yeah. So it's a little rougher on the outside. Doesn't look 3D printed.
That typically helps. Even that filament itself helps of hiding those layer lines, so it looks even more commercial.
So yeah, I love carbon fiber PET G. That's probably where my heart's at right now.
Good choice. So other than your speakers, what is your all-time favorite print that you've ever done?
Oh man. So many. And folks don't know what else we've printed before in the past. One that is pretty close to me, and it's going to sound a little silly, but and a little gushy mushy. One of the first things I ever printed successfully on my TiVo Tarantula was a blue hippo, and it was for my wife. And it wasn't oriented correctly, but it came out and had all the supports falling off of it, or still hanging onto it. I don't know if she still has it, but I did that as a little token for her birthday. I don't know if she appreciated it as much, but that's
Hey, but
probably
that's a lot of thought into it, and I'm
yeah,
sure there's a story of whether she's got the love for
yeah,
hippos or whatnot. So no,
yeah,
that's a good choice.
yeah.
Sentimental value is a lot more than anything else. So,
Sure, sure. But that
but
my first print and first like gift to someone that was 3D printed.
awesome.
That's what I'll
Hopefully, it's
say. Is,
floating around somewhere still, but we can't give her too much crap if it's not.
no, no.
And then, last but not least, if someone wanted to print their own speakers, where would you send them to?
Well, first and foremost, I would send them to depositionsound.com to go check out some of the kits that we have available, as well as the assembly guide that's on there. The assembly guides will take you to printables and things.
Okay.
We have profiles on both with all 3 designs currently on there. There is one remix out there. I believe it's on printables of the FMGOs with ripples on the cabinet exterior. So check us
Change the
out.
aesthetic a little bit.
Yeah. Check us out on Printables and Things. We're Deposition Sound, but definitely start with a website first. That way you'll get a taste for, what the speaker is going to sound like, just based on how it's described, and see if it meets your needs, kind of your feel. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And like I said, the goal is if anybody's going to be attending 3D Printtopia, formerly known as EARF, this year, I'll be there with Polymaker. And ideally, we will have a set of those set up at the booth to listen to. So I'm working with Nick. We'll get the details. But like I said, I'd like to have, I think I talked to you beforehand, is I'd like to have just kind of a little bit of ambient noise. We'll see if that's a thing. Either way, I'll definitely have a pair printed. And we always like to show off community prints. So even if it's not, somehow integrated in the booth, it will be there. So stop by the booth to see them. Are you planning on being at any events that are left this year, or have you kind of hit what you needed or what you were able to just so far?
Yeah. So this is our first year going live. So we decided let's go out with a bang, and we went to Armurf. And I think that's the only one in the cards this year. I'd like to go to EARF. I don't think we're going to make it though. But next year we're changing our approach a little bit more in our budget so that we can visit more festivals.
Well, I'm sure too. Zombie Hedgehog, I think, is planning on going. He's probably. Oh wait, hey, that's my idea. Sorry, Zombie. We can both have that idea. There can be multiple sounds throughout 3D Printtopia. So I was gonna say he's gonna be there also. I'm sure he'll probably bring his. So I might have to get with you and get like a 1-up speaker set, give me a little bit of extra edge on them so I can show them up. But but either way, is there any other? What's that?
We'll get you a discount for sure. At a minimum, we'll get you a discount.
Oh no, that's more than appreciated. And then, like I said, just give me that tweak of what best receiver or something. We just have to outdo Zombie. I mean, it's
sure.
It's kind of a thing me and Zombie have had with the EARFs. Last year we arm wrestled for a printer, and I beat him. So I got to keep the wins. So.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But props off to you and what you guys are doing. You and Waldo. I wish him the best. Hopefully he gets healthy here soon. We'll see how things go here and into the next year and new year. Maybe have you both back on here, talk about maybe some new models, things that you guys are working on, or some of the new projects. But is there anything else you want to let the people know? Where to find you, Instagram, socials, or just mainly the depositionsound.com and kind of link from there?
Yeah. So So besides our website, we're also on Twitter. That's probably the space where I'm the most active. I can't do a lot of other stuff beyond that. I'll fulfill orders, but check us out on Twitter. There are folks sharing our designs and sharing their versions of our speakers all the time, and we're just getting started. So yes, check us out there, and of course our website. We might put something out on YouTube soon as well, like an assembly guide. So Austin, he assembled a pair of our 4s online. Sorry, recorded it for YouTube, and that's great. If we want to put that out there, that's even better. Less work for us. But yes, we hope to be on YouTube soon as well. So
awesome.
Twitter.
Well,
go ahead.
No, go ahead. Nope, I'm letting you finish.
I'd say Twitter, our website for sure, and then hopefully coming soon, YouTube. And I think we have a TikTok account as well. My brother runs that. So yeah, TikTok,
Make sure
Twitter.
to follow it. Maybe if it's not active, it will be. He said he's the social
Yep.
guy. So
Yeah.
we'll definitely stay tuned and see what else is to come. But I greatly appreciate you coming on the show. Sad that we couldn't have your brother on here, but like I said, we can definitely have you back on the show. You've been great to talk to. Love learning what you guys are doing, where it kind of came from, and you guys are doing great. I definitely look forward to some new stuff, and I will definitely be in contact here soon to start prepping some ideas for Earth anyway, so, or 3D Printopia. But thank you again for coming. Everybody make sure to check out depositionsound.com and on the Twitters and the TikToks and all the stuff. So thank you very much, Ivan, and you have a wonderful night.
Thank you. You too. I appreciate it. Take care.
And you too. Definitely a smart guy there. He knows what he's doing, and to not have that audiophile background or audio engineering, whatever you want to say, and be able to create these. Like I said, I personally was able to listen to Zombie Hedgehogs at Murph. And again, that's in a giant open building, which is already loud. People talking, lots of things going on. They sounded great. I'm not kidding when I say I am going to be ordering a set. With or without a discount. I was buying one anyway, so we'll see if we can't get that displayed. Maybe we'll have a sound off, me and Zombie, little sound competition. But either way, just a really great guy, and loved having him on the show. And again, hopefully we'll have him and his brother maybe on a future episode. But with that said, we're gonna go ahead and make sure to remind you to type "I am awesome" if you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitch. If you have not yet, type in "I am awesome" in the chat. That's going to enter you for a chance to win a spool of filament. So as soon as I'm done rambling on here, we're going to draw for that filament, and we'll see who wins. So with that, let me switch to make sure we got the feed. Okay, and everything's open this time. I didn't mess it up. Everybody's entries, if you've done it, it's already entered, but go ahead and do it as many times as you need to. It'll only enter you once, but just make sure you're in there. So with that said, we go live every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Meet the Polymaker. Every week it is a new maker. Got already one scheduled for next week. He's been on a couple shows recently. Really cool projects that he's working on and products that he has, just as with the Yvonne there. So definitely stay tuned. We're going to work where we may start kind of doing a social where we release the guest, kind of working the details out there, but we will see. But make sure if you are not following the show or Polymaker themselves on all the socials, do so. Show your support. If you love what you see, there's always cool stuff coming out. Nick will probably eventually kind of start doing some streams, some print busters from his new Poly Lab that he's getting set up. So stay tuned for those. He's a lot more energy than I am, and he's always fun to watch. But we also have many other projects going on. We have our Polymaker figurines, where we have the first 151 Pokemon being printed every 2 days is a new model. Going down the list, if you have that giant poster of it, one by one, Trois Dimensions is heading that project and putting out a new video, like I said, every 2 days. And then when those videos go live, that model for that specific Pokemon become available on Maker World in a multicolor format and just a solid STL format. So make sure to follow him across all the socials, Instagram, TikTok. The videos are fun. Sometimes he throws in kind of some remixes and some accessories he prints for the Pokemon. So it's fun to watch him and awesome to see the newest, latest, and greatest Pokemon in multicolor. They look beautiful. So next up, we also have our Polymaker Education. That is head by Creatrix Britt. She puts a lot of time and effort in her videos, and she is putting them out, I believe, every 2 days also. I'm lucky. I just have to work on one show a week right now. We'll see how that changes, but they put a lot of effort into it. If you have anybody that's in education, these videos and the prints that accompany the videos, kind of the same thing is, the videos come out, those models become available. So whether it be food safety, vehicle safety, counting, letters, tying your shoes, motor functions, across the board of just education for children, and for even some older adults that might need some of the help too. But she's always a joy to watch. She always has great energy. So make sure to follow Polymaker_education on YouTube, on TikTok, on I believe Instagram also, across the board, and watch Britt kind of come out with a new model. They're trying to do as much in-house modeling as they can, and that's every 2 days. So there's a lot of effort put into that. So definitely show your support. And last but not least, we have Pezliz, which I seen her in chat earlier. She does go live often. You know, she does a Monday show with the Zombie Hedgehog, but more importantly, of course, the Polymaker show, in printing color. That is done every Wednesday. That's at twitch.tv/Pezliz. She's fun to watch, fun to hang out with, and fun to feed Uncrustables to. So that's kind of our thing here. But Zombie, I apologize. It's a good show too. ZNZ is good. But yes, like I said, definitely support them all. They are great people, great projects, awesome to watch. With that said, let's end it here. Let's go ahead. I'm done rambling. We have 51 entries. Here's your last chance for 10 seconds to get I am awesome in chat. If you're watching on TikTok, hurry up and scoot over to YouTube or Twitch. It's youtube.com/@Polymaker or twitch.tv/Polymaker_3D. I know there's only a couple of viewers over there in TikTok land. You got to enter it over here in the YouTube and Twitch area for right now. And we will be drawing in 10 seconds, even though I said that 10 seconds ago. And we'll get ready to count down. Looks like I think we have all the entries. Thank you again, guys, for all your support. You're all awesome. No matter who wins, you're all awesome. Hope to see you guys around in Discord, these upcoming events. So we are going to draw, and look at Zombie. Did he put in for it? If Zombie wins, nobody wins for 6 months. It's his fault. We took that a different route, didn't we, Zombie? Kaggle3545 in the Twitch land. Are you? Oh, he's right there. I just seen him. Hey, Zombie Hedgehog. Hey, now, don't you get some free rolls already? He does, Kaggle, but so do you. So you want a free spool of filament, Polymaker filament, that voucher will come to you via email. Be sure to Builder's Mark. Oh, there you go. And look at that. Coming in clutch. Sean.aranda@polymaker.com. I might be killing the pronunciation of that last name, but there's the email. Just let them know that you won on Meet the Polymaker on 6/27/2024. You'll be able to verify username, everything there. If you have a problem with the email, don't have a response for some reason, Sean's great. You're going to get a response regardless. If there's any issue, you can always reach out to him or myself on Discord at discord.polymaker.com. So let's go ahead and take a look. Who is live and who shall we raid? And where's my mouse? There it is. Pro streamer, guys. Pro streamer. Okay, who is live and who is doing stuff? And bear with me just a moment. Come on here. Let's see. So how about, looks like Big Jano just went live. So how about we raid out to Big Jano? If I get this right. Sometimes I mess it up. And you can't ever spell it like a normal person. You got to use a 1. Oh, Jano. There we go. I think this is it. Let's make sure here. Invalid username. Okay. Give me what. This is pro streaming at its best. Underscore. Why is it saying? Okay. Let me try one more. It's not. Come on, you pros. Help me out here. What am I doing wrong? Let's try here. Raid has been created. There we go. Thank you all for sticking around. We are going to raid out to Big Jano. See what he's working on tonight. 3D printing hangout looks like. Quick jam repair on the Soval. And printing with new filament. Hopefully it's Polymaker, but if it's not, we won't hold it against him. Remember, tune in next week at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. We will meet yet a new maker, show some more news and some more print show off. So see you guys around. You guys have a good night, a good weekend, and hope to see you here next week. And raid now. There we go. Thank you guys.